Malibu is where people think rebuilding should be easy because the land is worth millions. But in reality, this might be one of the hardest places in America to build a house. People look at these empty lots on PCH and they think, why hasn't Malibu rebuilt already? Well, I'm Eddie Fala, luxury developer and real estate agent right here in Los Angeles, and I'm going to tell you why today. Because rebuilding in Malibu is not like rebuilding almost anywhere else. This isn't just fire recovery. This is fire recovery inside one of the most regulated, geologically complicated, and environmentally sensitive housing markets in all of California. After the January 7, 2025 Palisades fire, more than 700 Malibu homes lost their structures. By the week of March 9th, 2026, Malibu said it had issued 642 permits related to rebuild activity, whatever that means, received 236 planning submittals, and approved 177 planning applications. But that does not mean that hundreds of homes are already firing up vertically. So yes, there has been movement, but real vertical rebuilding has been lagged behind an incredible amount of paperwork. Now, one of the biggest reasons for that is infrastructure. Malibu is not served by a citywide public sewer system. Most properties handle wastewater on site through septic systems, what the city calls OWTS. And if you're installing a new OWTS in Malibu, that alone requires a coastal development permit process with planning review and multiple agency sign-offs. So before you even get to design drama, you're already dealing with wastewater engineering in a coastal city with no normal sewer backbone. Then you add the beachfront condition. If you're rebuilding on the water, the city requires a coastal engineering report for all beachfront fire rebuilds. Those reports have to address wave action, flood elevation, and sea level rise. Now, the city's guidelines say the report may produce a design flood elevation higher than FEMA's base elevation, which makes things easier. But that is a huge deal because it can change the foundation design, the finished floor height, your seawall relationships, ultimately, the entire cost of the project. And Malibu is not just about the ocean. It is also about geology. City's own rebuild guidelines make clear that even fire rebuilds can trigger geotechnical work around slope stability, landslide risk, flooding, bluff setbacks, retaining walls, and foundation safety. And beachfront properties are not even eligible for the simpler geotechnical path. They require the most comprehensive level of analysis. So when people say, why isn't this house going back up? Sometimes the answer is because the ground, the bluff, the flood zone, the septic system, they all have to pencil before you even start thinking about what your kitchen's gonna look like. And then there is the Coastal Commission. We all love the Coastal Commission. Malibu is entirely inside the coastal zone, and the city's local coastal program can override local zoning where there is a conflict because coastal resource protection and public access come first. And even utilities became part of the story. In March of 2025, Governor Newsom suspended CEQA and Coastal Act requirements for utilities, rebuilding electric, gas, water, sewer, and telecom infrastructure in the fire zones, specifically to speed up the restoration process and encourage undergrounding where feasible. So if you look above me here, we have all these power lines. If you run them underground, you're hopefully not going to have the same problems that we had that caused the fires in the first place. Now that tells you how deep the problem here is. Malibu is not just rebuilding houses, it is rebuilding an entire system. So the real reason you still see burned lots on PCH is not that nobody cares. It is that Malibu sits at the intersection of wildfire risk, ocean risk, septic constraints, geologic risk, utility work, flood standards, and coastal law. This is one of the most beautiful places in the world to build, but it is also one of the hardest places in the world to build. And that was all about the rebuild process in Malibu in about 6,854 steps.